what's cracking there, buddy? New video, quick video. Off the top, this video, it's gonna be a little YA story, I guess. Inspired by Gunner from the Gunners Collective. So, it was a few months back. I get a phone call from one of my homeboys, right? And he's like, "Hey, homie, you heard of this vato?" And he was mentioning Gunner's channel, right? And I was like, "Yeah, I've heard of him." And he said, that he told this story about when the raza from up north, when he was in Hawaii, the raza from up north went to Nelles, and they were doing their thing. And is that true? And I always keep it real, and so I gave him the answer. So now let me tell you. So before 1992, all of the raza from Southern California went to every single youth authority facility, every one of them. And before 1992, the raza from Northern California only went to, like 5 facilities that were all up north, like OH, DeWitt, Carl Holton, Preston. Matter of fact, I think those were like the main ones because Chad wasn't open yet, right? And so they went there. Now, here was the thing. So for the raza from down south, again, they would have to go to every facility, right? And like, I was in Paso and TS, right? And we always knew when vatos were coming from, especially Preston, right? Because they would come with some scars on them. You gotta keep it real, right? But here's what the fuck was going on. So they would get off the bus in Carl Holton, but especially like in Preston, they get off the bus and they would go to whatever unit they were going to be housed in, right? And the staff were pro Northern Raza, right? But these vatos weren't knowing. And so they would get off the bus and they would go into the day room, and the Judas would be like, "Hey, you guys are from down south, right?" And they would say, "Yeah." And they would tell them, "Okay, you guys sit in the day room while we get your bunks ready for you." But the blacks and the whites and everybody else would go in the dorm. But the raza, they would leave in the day room, talking about, "We're gonna get your bunks ready." And they would, go in the dorm and they would tell the raza from up north, "Hey, man, there's some of them dudes in the day room." Them dudes would grab their weapons, run straight out in the day room, and get their money. They weren't gonna. This was for the most part. Sometimes they let them into the dorm, which was rare, but majority of the time they'd rush them, and vatos would get whacked. Hit them with razor blades, locks and socks, whatever. They fuck them up. And so, like, on those dorms up north prior to 92, you would have like 5 dudes from Southern California on a dorm, and 20 or 30 dudes from Northern California in a dorm, right? And we used to ask them, like, when they would come, and we'd laugh at them, like, "Look at you, vatos, you sporting them scars for life now, right?" But I used to be like, why didn't you just get off on the Judas as soon as they took your cuffs off? Like, the Judas are in on it, so they're fair game. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna set me up, bam, and just get off, right? But anyways, so in 1992, the California Youth Authority got a new director, right? Now, the California Youth Authority is actually under the Department of Corrections. With the adult department, it's the same. The secretary is in control, and they appoint whoever for the youth authority. So they got a new director, right? And the new director was like, "Hold up, something I don't like is the troublemakers from Northern California get to stay in Northern California, and the numbers, the way the numbers were and everything. So I'm changing the policy to where everyone goes to every institution. Everybody goes to every facility. And I remember in Paso, as soon as word came like, hey, they're really gonna start shipping dudes, raza from Northern California to these institutions. I know on all of our compas, everybody who was running a compa, they threw their juntas and shit, and it was decided anybody who was leva on the units was getting smashed and ran out, right? And so Paso went pretty much fucking nuts, right? Okay. And then I remember we would go to class and the teachers would tell us like, look, we know it's gonna be all out war, it's gonna be a bloodbath. All we ask is if one of these guys comes into the class, get him before he comes into the class. We don't want you guys using desks. And it was like everybody knew this is gonna be bad, right? And I remember one day we were out on the yard, and because every unit has their own little cage, little fenced-in yard area, right? And we're in Paso, it's lunch, and it was gonna be time for the next school block, right? So they called it for everybody to get ready for the movement, and that's when the unit goes outside and lines up. So we start to go out the gate to go on and line up, and the central tower announced, send everybody back in the fucking to the units and lock all the gates and the doors, right? So we're like, huh. So we all lined up on the fences and we're looking, and you see the vans come. NRCC was white or blue vans. SRCC was brown vans, right? And sure enough, we see a fucking white and a blue van pull up across the institution to where the fish tank was at, right? And I remember right away, it's a bunch of young knuckleheads like, fuck, hey, can we jump this fence? The fences have barbed wire. Like, can we get over this fucking, right away everybody wants to be super duper. And, but anyways, that's when they came. That was the first shipment. I think they brought 10 on that first shipment, right? And I mentioned it before in another video. Never bullshit, There was a kid from Fresno, was not a gang member, wasn't a bulldog, wasn't a gang member on the streets. He was a good kid. He was a fucking boxer, a Golden Gloves boxer. Got caught up in some shit, and Vatos told him in NR, hey, if you don't fucking run with us, them dudes are gonna get you. And he bit, he went with it, and so the first night when those two buses came, when those 10 dudes came, that night, a riot kicked off. And the old boy from Fresno he was laying motherfuckers out, right? I remember everybody was fucking mad, eh? Then the next day there was another riot, and boom, he dropped like 4 more dudes. He was just, dude had hands, he was trained. And we were sending weapons. Like every fucking compa was sending fucking weapons. Stop fighting him, just fucking kill that dude, man, right? So that was what happened in Paso. Now getting to what Gunner was talking about, okay? They did go to Nelles. And, and it's funny because everybody that's been to YA knows Paso and Nelles had a rivalry. Which one was crazier? Vatos from Nelles always thought they were crazier. Vatos in Paso were like, when you guys fuck up, you come to us. You come to our institution. When we fuck up, we go to TS or Preston. We don't go down there. Well, this was like a test, right? The biggest test. Who had the nuts that dragged. And them dudes went to Nelles, and nothing happened. I believe there was like a fight or two, and then it was okay. So I remember getting kicked out of Paso in '92. During all that time, when everything was going crazy, they got me and a couple dudes out of Paso. They were like, fuck, these dudes got to get out of here. Send us to TS. And I remember, and there's maybe dudes that were there at the time that could co-sign this, but I remember in YTS when there were juntas in every unit. And it was a righteous discussion of basically dropping all of Nelles leva, right? That they did not function the way they were supposed to function. And so therefore, anybody who gets transferred out of Nelles and went to YTS, if they didn't have a level B, which is the YA's version of a 115, right? Like a serious 115. They didn't have a level B saying that they got off, they whacked somebody or something like that. Like, get them, you know? And it was, I remember because I wasn't, one of the knuckleheads and had been in Boston. And so I was like, all these cats from Nelles, all these crazy vatos from Nelles. What happened? I don't remember what the outcome was because I paroled not too long after when those discussions were still going on. But it's a true story. Again, my homeboy asked me about it, and that's why I'm putting it out there where, I can say that it is a true story. I mean, things did happen, isolated incidents, but in Basel, when I was there when they came, they gave them their own unit, which was there was only 2 units that had cell living. They got one of them. They had church at night. They had school at night, like completely separated everything. What happened later, I heard it kind of integrated, but when I was there, nope. They did send them to YTS, went straight to the rock, the hole, the oil. That was it. They didn't try to send them to any of the compas. But Nelles did get a major wah, wah, wah. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of autos on me. Fuck that Paso wasn't shit. This and that. Yeah, okay, but Nelles didn't perform when that shit hit. So I gotta get it ready for work, man. But I just wanted to put a new video out there. At the end of the day, all that means nothing. That was something we did when we were kids, man. I get a lot of love, especially from the Bay Area, man. I'm getting a lot of support, a lot of love from the Bay Area. But I just figured I'd put that out there. Gunner was telling the truth. Shit did happen. People were upset, but it was a long time ago, right? About 30 years ago. All right, so with that, I'm out.